You're watching a clip from the Football Ramble podcast. For the full episode, search Football Ramble wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes out Monday to Friday. Right, let's get on with it, shall we?
Now, you see, on the weekend, we had not one, but two FA Cup semi-finals. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
And that is something that you want to get stuck into, of course. Semi-finals of the world's oldest cup competition.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, we've got a big final ahead of us. And you think, well, surely we should start the show with that.
Yeah.
No, we can't, because of what Spurs did. Because of Tottenham Hotspur and that back four, we have to wait until the second half of this podcast before we talk about the FA Cup semi-finals.
We can't do the FA Cup semi-finals until the second half because yesterday, as has been reported, a man went into a petrol station listening to the kickoff of the Spurs Newcastle game on the radio, filled his car up, got a takeaway coffee, went to the toilet, came back to his car, and Spurs were 5-0 down. And in his own words, I thought it was some kind of mistake.
If anybody's wondering what that means, is yes, Tottenham conceded 5 goals in the first 21 minutes. They lost 6-1.
Which in the circumstances, if you're 5-0 down after 20 minutes and someone says 6-1, you're signing for that there and then.
Absolutely.
You are signing for that there and then.
You would bite their hand off for a 6-1 loss.
Yeah.
And the thing is, at 5-0, Newcastle was still bombing on. I was like, and certainly the Southampton fans out there would be like, come on, come on, we could get 10 here.
Did you see Kieran Trippier at one point screaming to... I can't remember who it was, screaming to another Newcastle player, they're there for the taking, they're fucking crap.
And he was right.
Yeah.
Did you see Kieran Trippier also? There was a point when I think it was when they were 5-0 up and they were attacking again and someone came short for the ball and he shouted him to just basically run the other way. Go. We're all over them.
Yeah.
Also, if ever an atmosphere didn't need an early goal, they were so up for it. And,
oh my goodness.
And then having 5 I couldn't believe it.
It's utterly remarkable. Harry Kane missed a chance at 3-0. Was that a turning point of the game? Do you think they rue on that? Maybe what could have been?
What I want to know is, football never fails to surprise you because I think we can all agree there was no way of knowing that a man who had managed in Serie C for 4 months before being fired for poor performances wouldn't quite be good enough to manage a team in the Premier League. Right, lads, we're switching the fork to back. Are you absolutely sure about this? We're fucking doing it. It's shit or bust.
You know when he...
None of the players know how to play forward and back. We're doing it.
You know the bit in...
It's Mufti Day.
Spurs did play like they had jeans on, to be fair.
Soccer aid! We've all got our jeans on. We've all got fucking shoe pads over our jeans, and it's soccer aid, and it's opposite day, and it's the last day of term, so we're going to egg each other at half time. And Hugo Lloris got an egg in the eye, and that's why he couldn't come out of the second half because they were egging and flouring each other and signing each other's shirts and doing their leaving books, and Laurie's got a paper cut on his finger.
You know the bit in Jurassic Park where Sam Neill lights the flare and runs away to distract the T-Rex?
And he's good at it.
Yeah.
And Jeff Goldblum does it wrong.
Yeah. Is that what they thought about when they went, let's bring on Davinson Sanchez now?
I think so.
Let's bring on Davinson Sanchez because he'll take the heat.
I don't think I can't think of a time. I mean, there was that Carlos Tevez business, but a footballer not wanting to come off the bench. Davinson Sanchez, he's thinking, obviously he got booed. It was pretty pissed.
Davinson Sanchez was definitely thinking, hang on a minute, I was the fall guy last week. Why am I doing it again? I've done it last week. It's like the professional football equivalent of taking the kit home to wash it.
Do you think?
I've already done it. I'm not doing it again now.
Well, no, I think maybe it's better for him because he's off the field. They've already conceded. They conceded 5 at the time?
Yeah.
So he comes on and almost takes a bit of time to come on to be like, right, let it be noted, I'm only just coming on the pitch now.
Exactly,
so whatever shit you want to hurl at me, think about that twice.
We'll all agree it was 5 already when I came on.
Do you think the lad who came off, do you think he would have been, he would have been embarrassed, let's be honest, and it was, I don't know whether Stellini should have done that or not.
So Pape Sarr, I agree with you entirely because he was on the other side of the pitch when he took him off and he had to walk around.
Yeah.
Also, he's
in front of the stand.
And he's 20 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Wait for him to come on your side if you're going to do it.
And it's not his fault, all of that.
But that was a bit like, if you're on a pirate ship and a bigger pirate ship comes along and all the pirates jump on, you're fucked.
Yeah.
It was basically like just slitting the throat of your own least favourite one. You might as well. It's fucking mayhem here.
Why would you do that to your own?
Just to show that you mean business. Just to show that like in Usual Suspects.
Oh, I hate us as well. How does that work?
Like when in Usual Suspects, where Kaiser Soze kills his own family to show that he doesn't give a shit anymore.
That's right, yeah.
Like people,
Right.
you can't get to this guy. Christian Stellini is such a master of mayhem that he will do anything. He will do anything. But listen, what I would say is this: Spurs
But he won't
fans,
do that.
Spurs fans, it's a lovely stadium you got. It is a lovely stadium. And Harry Kane got his goal, so that's another notch on the bedpost, isn't it? Which we're all here for. We're all here to see how much we can do for Harry.
Stadiums and statues.
Yeah.
That's what they're about.
When Kane scored, the commentator went, "Well, Kane's got his goal," and it's like, "Wow,
And
See you
it's
later,
just
lads.
his goal. It's not a Tottenham goal, that is Harry Kane's goal.
I mean, therein lies the. I suppose I'm in danger of making a semi-serious point here, but all the issues around Spurs seem to have culminated in this one game, and even amid this chaos, Kane gets a goal that puts him, a bit further ahead as Spurs' leading goal scorer, a bit closer to Alan Shearer as the Premier League's leading goal scorer.
There you go.
And it just
So it wasn't all bad.
but it makes you look back on all the goals and think, what is it for? Beyond him, what is it for?
Yeah,
What
exactly.
has it achieved? Because it hasn't achieved anything.
Well,
has it?
totally, yeah.
It's a nice metaphor. Can I mean,
imagine going all the way up to Newcastle, as a Spurs fan,
How packed?
leaving after 21 minutes.
Well, how packed?
raining as well.
How packed was the 3 o'clock train
Oh, man.
from Newcastle back to King's Cross?
Yeah, I think there was a ticket inspector just going, don't worry about it. You've not got the right train, but that's fine.
Yeah.
You've not even got an open-ended return.
Can I also say, before I left the house this morning,
Yeah.
I flicked on the radio and guess who was on there?
Jamie
talking
O'Hara?
about it? Harry Redknapp.
Oh, Harry Redknapp.
I think he might fancy it.
Shut up.
No, I think he might fancy it for the last few games
Luke,
of the season.
Luke, it would be...
Okay, let me try-
No. In the context, genuinely, and I say this, it would be a really good idea. It would genuinely be a good idea.
Can I rephrase my point? I quite fancy him doing it. That's what I actually meant.
First game, right? How many reserve goalkeepers do we have?
Yeah, back four again.
Seeing as though Vish has crossed the Rubicon into making a semi-serious point about the game,
Yeah,
I'll follow him
We
in.
must do at some point. I suppose.
It was absolute. I think that it was the worst 20 minutes from a quote-unquote good Premier League team. So I know that we can talk about Southampton getting hammered a couple of times, and there's some big results in the past. Spurs themselves obviously put 9 past Wigan once. It was but those teams were struggling teams. They kind of, you always felt a bit like a Watford against Man City who went miles behind really early on once.
You feel a bit sorry for them.
Yeah, they're kind of. It's almost a bit like there's a feeling like they're out of their depth. Now I know Liverpool beat Man United 7-0, but that game didn't transpire in the same way.
No,
the first goal was only after about 40 odd minutes.
Yeah, there was a little bit of fight in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think that 20 to 21 minutes, whatever it was. In the context of that 4 at the back, where you've got really arguably 3 of those 4 who can't even play 4 at the back, and the lack of application was the worst I think I can remember seeing. And I think it really does say something when, for the first, I mean, admittedly he got his booking later on, but Christian Romero's not even tackling people, then really you're in big trouble.
But the formation you can scrutinise, and on a normal day, I'll say normal, if this was, say, 3 or 4 months ago, Spurs probably lose that 3-0 if they'd have gone back 4 and done what they did. It would have been, they looked a little bit at 6s and 7s and blah, 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 blah. You can't just say with professional footballers, they put an extra defender back there. You can't say that suddenly, oh my God, we had no idea what we were doing. It shows you how rotten it all is there. And also you have to question the players as well. Because often what we do is we question the manager, we question the board and all the rest of it. But there's no way that should be happening. I mean, Danny Rose, who was on pundit duty during the game, he said, all I've been thinking of all throughout the first half is, how am I unemployed? Which is quite a funny thing to hear. But
the maddest thing as well, because James Moore from The Athletic made this point, that he's a big Spurs fan, but by the time they'd finished showing the replay of a goal, Spurs had already given Newcastle back the ball. What were they doing when they kicked off?
That's what I mean. It's that it's his.
It was
weird.
It was a really weird, almost like a Halley's Comet type event where they should get infected. And I think the reason that it can happen, and there's an element to this where in football, and I think we mentioned this on a show we did recently, I forget which one, where we talk about how these days managers are trying to control as much as they can, and there's not everything you can control. That's a great example of it. Sometimes things just happen like that, and it's difficult to explain. But what I would say is the backstop to all of it appears to be, to me, that Spurs have got absolutely no identity. So their identity has all been bound up in this new big stadium, this quote-unquote being able to compete with all the big clubs, and we'll just get ourselves a fucking big-name manager, and that'll be fine. There's been no continuity, no consistency, no real identity. They've just gone from the opportunity to have an identity with Pochettino when he obviously went for whatever reason he went for. They could have continued that on, but they wanted to do something completely different. And it's almost like the England manager action-reaction thing. Well, it didn't work under fucking
Fabio
McLaren,
Capello,
so you go to Capello. It doesn't work under Capello, so you go to Hodgson. It doesn't work under Hodgson, so you go wherever else you want to go. It's almost like they're being buffeted around all over the place. And when you go away to Newcastle, when their tails are up, in that kind of atmosphere, they'll punish you, they'll torture you over and over again because they're on a crest of a wave.
Well, if you look at the difference between them and Newcastle United, it's not a case of, they've switched out Steve Bruce and got Eddie Howe in. The club has changed hands now. Obviously,
it is partly that.
Well, that actually, that would have been a.
Brucey's getting a 1-0 out of that yesterday.
Oh, it was a 1-1.
But
they get the first goal and then they sit back.
It's a 1-0 and then a really tempestuous press conference afterwards why Steve Bruce tries to wonder why everyone's pissed off at him.
I tell you what, if you're a Newcastle United fan listening to this, you'll be like, oh yeah, Steve Bruce. That'll give you a right laugh hearing that name after this performance.
Thank you for watching a clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an upload. A single upload. Don't miss out on the uploads. The uploads are important.